So I recently got my alt arts for Jesmon and Gankoomon. And man, we can all agree that the two cards sit perfectly alongside with each other, creating a very amazing masterpiece of an artwork. Now, this got me thinking, would it actually be possible to make a deck that utilizes both these cards together in the same deck? Well, the real honest answer actually is yes. Hello Digimon players and fans, welcome back to another deck profile video. I actually wasn't joking when we were about to make a deck utilizing both Jesmon and Gankoomon together. Not only that, this particular deck build that I'm about to show you guys can even face against many other competitive decks of the format. It would even give tier 1 decks such as Gabobond, Jesmon, and the Three Musketeers a very hard time to play against. But most importantly, it actually beats them too. The name of this deck is actually called Royal Knights Security Control, or Royal Knights Control. It takes the main components from Black Royal Knights, which includes Alphamon, Craniumon, and Gankoomon, and then afterwards you will mash it up along with Jesmon and the Sistermon package. But that's not all, it also has the best security control removal cards from the BT6 and EX01 format. Although this deck may not be very popular, but it fits very nicely to be considered one of the strongest road decks of the format. And like I mentioned, it actually wins games. So let me give you guys a quick introduction of how this all works. The deck revolves all around the Royal Knight archetype, specifically to synergize with each other. The main key thing to notice is that the effects from both Sistermon's Blanc and Sistermon's Ciel does not only require you to have Jesmon to be present. The text in its effect also mentions Royal Knight, meaning that Sistermon Blanc can actually become a blocker as long as you have any of Alphamon, Craniumon, or Gankoomon on the board. The exact same applies and goes for Ciel as well, where all of them will also gain additional 2000 DPs all turns. That's not all. Remember Craniumon? It can reach up to unbelievable heights with its DP and will also protect all of your Sistermons that have blocker as well, making them stick on the board almost forever. Now how cool is that? Well, let's get right into the deck profile to show you guys the cards and how we basically play this deck. But hold on for a second, I actually got a quick question for you. Did you see this video in your YouTube homepage or recommended section? Well, if you didn't, that is because you are not subscribed yet. By subscribing and turning on that notification bell right now, you will know every time a new Digimon deck profile or video is out. We've got lots more content and other deck profiles to cover for the BT6 and EX01 format, so be sure to stay tuned. Also give this video a like as it really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Alright, so starting off with our Digi Egg cards, it really doesn't matter which type of egg you play. The most important thing is at least it needs to be yellow. You guys can only play one, but I like to play 4 to sort of give it a little bit of a concealing identity so that our opponent doesn't know exactly which deck we're playing at the beginning. When you only have exactly one egg, it makes it kind of obvious of exactly what type of deck you might be playing against your opponent, and it gives them sort of like a heads up. So you want to always keep that surprise element. But right here we just play 4 Pikmons. It can be basically any yellow egg that you guys want. It can be a jumbo of them as well. But yeah, the yellow egg is extremely important for your yellow option cards, which we will be getting into much later in the deck profile. But let's start off with our Digimon. Now, we don't play any rookies level 3s at all, so we're just going to go straight to our level 4s for our Digimon. We first off have the 4 copies of Nanimon right here. Nanimon is just a really great Digimon because it has the ability of coming out from the security after being checked. And not only that, it has a very low hard play cost, allowing you to basically hard play this for 3, and then you can easily digivolve into a level 5 on top of it right after as well, which is really good. That's the main reason why we like to play Nanimon. Pop up surprises from security and then digivolving onwards afterwards to grow our mini stack. Next, for our other level 4 Digimon, we have, of course, the 2 Mechanorimons right here. Really crucial card in this format, especially against any decks that has rookie rushing capabilities, that you're getting rushed by lower level Digimon, anything that's below 6k, especially when it comes to Gabobond. This is a really good card to sort of help you sustain in the game. This deck is relatively slow, relatively not as fast, so the early game is relatively weak. So having the Mechanorimon really helps out in general. That will be all of our level 4s, and moving straight into our level 5s, we have the 2 Andromons, which is also a very good decent generic blocker that we have that doesn't have any caveats. You don't have to pay memory. It can attack as well while doing so, which is really nice. 7k DP right there on the board. You can just hard slam it, maybe sometimes Digivolve on top of your Nanimon, which makes it really good, and it's just a very powerful Digimon to always have to sort of again stall out the game so that you can potentially grow it into a level 6 if you want to later on, but I usually like to just keep it by itself on the board. Now moving on to the rest of our level 5s, we have our Dramons package. Now we're just going to go straight into all the copies of our Dramons. We got the 4 Giga Dramons and the 2 Mega Dramons right here. Now why are these two guys so important for this deck? The main reason is because they both allow you to bridge into your level 6s that is either red or black, essentially, because both of them can be treated as both colors, so then you can digivolve your Black Royal Knights or even your Jesmon on top of any of these guys right here, and they provide really good inheritables. So for Giga Dramon, it pairs up very nicely with Craniamon and our black Digimon in general. Anyone with a blocker, mainly basically Craniamon, because during the opponent's turn it gives it extra 2000 DP, and then that can boost our Craniamon up all the way to 14k DP, which is really massive and really strong. Mega Dramon, on the other hand, boosts our Digimon during our turn for extra 2000 DP, and this card just works so well with the aggressive type Digimon such as Gankoomon, Alphamon, and Jesmon, which are the Digimons that we want to level 6 and swing in aggressively into our opponent to deal damage and have lots of DP power when doing so. So these are the two cards that are really crucial for the level 5s and that we must play, which works so well and basically bridges the synergy of the entire black and red Royal Knights all together into this deck, which is why you have to play this kind of copies. Now that'll be all of our level 5, so let's jump into our level 6s right here already. Starting off, introducing our Royal Knights, we have none of the other, the leader, which is Alphamon right here. 2 copies. Alphamon is just a really good card in general. It has great digivolving, you know, it only costs 3. It can do a whole bunch of things. It can really manipulate the memory, increases the DP, and sort of, you know, do a whole lot of like flexibility and versatile plays, which I really like. It also has a very nice security effect where it does protect you from being attacked for the rest of the turn. As long as you have a Royal Knights, up to 12 of your opponent's Digimon cannot attack you for the turn. Keep in mind that it doesn't affect any Digimon that comes out after this effect, essentially. So it's only for those effect, I believe it's only for the Digimon that are presently on board. But if I'm incorrect, let me know in the comments down below, guys. I definitely would appreciate the rulings if you guys can find out for me as well, just to clarify and just to double check. But generally, this is why I really like Alphamon, and it's just really strong and just really good card. So must play it 2 of. Now moving into our other Royal Knight, we of course have Craniamon. Craniamon is our massive blocker of the deck, the defense guy, basically protecting all of our blockers, Digimon with blockers and its capability, and it's just really good because it's just a massive blocker that you just want to bring out, you know, slow down the game, control the board, and that's basically sort of how you really like make it difficult for your opponent to play around while you slowly gain more advantages while having this card with this Digimon on your side of the board. So this is why we want to play the Craniamons. Next, now moving into the other Royal Knight, we have the 2 copies of Gankoomon right here. Gankoomon is just also really strong because it can offer board wiping capabilities, deleting all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost when digivolving. It's just really good. It also has security +1 as long as your opponent has a unsuspended Digimon, allowing you to sort of attack with pressure, attack a little bit more during the game and deal more damage, and sort of pick up the pace so that you can win the game a little bit faster when you have him on board, which is really good. So 2 Gankoomons is a must. Then for our last Royal Knight, of course, we have the 2 Jesmons right here. Now the Jesmons is a specialty, also a Royal Knight, which allows you to play your Sistermons package, which we will get into right after talking about this card. But generally, it keeps a good cycle of your Sistermons. You can play your blocks from your hand or trash, so you can draw more cards, have another blocker on the field, or you can play your Xiaos to boost up and your Royal Knights by 2000 DP by extra. And the Jesmon, this one is obviously not as strong as the pure Jesmon deck profile that I did by itself, but you know, the whole idea is so it can synergize with the whole Royal Knight archetype and scheme and the name all together, which works very well. And it's also just a very nice and strong Digimon that you can swing into your opponents with generally. So that's the reason why we play the Jesmon. So since we had the Jesmon shown, of course, we're going to have to show you guys the sister mons that you can play alongside with the whole Royal Knights package. Of course, the first one we have Mont Blanc. On play, you basically draw a card, and then if you have a Royal Knight on the field, all of your sister mons become blocker. Just a really good one because it's supposed to synergize alongside with, I'll put this here so you guys can see all together, alongside with our Shiel, 3 copies of each. Shiel basically all turns makes our Royal Knight gain extra 2000 DP. Now, why is this really important? Because our Craniamon, our Alphamon, our Gankoomon, and our Jesmon are all Royal Knights, and all turns giving that extra 2000 DP buff is just insanely good, especially on Craniamon, because when your Craniamon gets so high DP, it can go all the way to 16 or 17 DP. There's almost no Digimon that can run over at this point, along with Shiel, and this is why it makes it so powerful, because your opponent first cannot be Gaia forcing it, they cannot delete Craniamon. DP reduction is just not going to be the greatest, most reliable strategy. Even with Wyvern's Breath, it's only 15,000 DP to take out that Craniamon. If it's 17k DP, it's still going to stick to the board. So really the only way to get rid of the Craniamon is to basically spin it back to the deck or return it back to the hand, which are your only options for your opponent to deal with your Craniamon, which is why Sistermon CL just works so well with this deck, synergizes really greatly, and as well, you on play gain a memory. So 3 and 3 is why you need to play these 2 cards. So moving into our level 7s, I like to play the 2 Omnimon Zwarts. Now, here's a really good reason why I like to play 2 copies of these guys right here. Is because you can go on top of your Alphamon. Rarely you will want to go on top of your Craniamon, but you can go on top of your Alphamon or Gankoomon, sometimes your Craniamon as well, but mainly it's because of its effect of being able to allow you to go wide. You can bring back your Andromons, you can bring back your Gigadramon, the black one specifically, and even your Mechanorimons, set up more defenses, but also when attacking, when swinging in, you can return the level 6 back to your hand to pop something that your opponent has that is unsuspended with 12 play costs or less. But not only that, then you combos very well with cards like Gankoomon, so that you can reuse Gankoomons when Digivolving ability back on the board once again, which is really nice, and keeping a very good circulation of strong Digimon on your board and exerting the amount of pressure is just really good with this card, and I think 2 of is a perfect amount to have as well. The last level 7 I have as well is just one Alter S. Alter S is just great for board wiping capabilities, you know, just de-digivolving one across your entire opponent's entire field and then deleting everything that's 5k or less. It's just a very nice and clutch scenario. Another reason why I play Alter S is the same, very similar reason to Zwart, is because when you swing in, you can return your level 6 back to your hand. Once again, Gankoomon, a very good example. You can return Gankoomon back and then Digivolve him again the next turn or the same turn and basically pop your opponent's board again and board wipe them, which is really nice, keeping a very good circulation of your level 6s as well in the game when you go to the 7s. And that's also one of the reasons why I do not chose to play Zwart Defeat, because Zwart Defeat does not offer that kind of capability and synergy when it comes to this deck. So that will be all of our level 6 and 7 Digimon and all of our Digimon for this deck profile. Let's jump into the Tamers and options. Starting with our Tamers and the black package, I would like to show you guys that we played 2 copies of Izzy Joe right here from BT6. Just a really good card. If you guys see my security control deck profile, the other version before this video, I explained why this card is just so good, but just a quick refresher and a recap is simply because your opponent tends to go wide. As long as they have 2 or more Digimon, you gain 2 memory at the beginning of every turn, which is really good. It gives you a lot of memory to work with. This deck does need that memory to basically play well, because hard slamming is also like a Megazoo style, so having those extra memories is really good. I want to add a 3rd copy, but I'm finding it very difficult to make room for this. But also it works very nicely because the black Digimon, if it gets deleted during your opponent's turn, you can basically suspend this Tamer to draw a card, which gives you a little of draw power as well, which is quite nice. So basically we play 2 copies right here. The other one, other Tamer would like to play is the 2 ties Kamiya's, the black one from BT2. This one helps boost up all our black Digimon for extra 1000 DP. If you guys want to play more Izzy Joes, you can obviously cut off one of these guys to add another Izzy Joe instead, but this is also really important because this card does help us set our memory to 3 at the beginning of the turn. It helps boost our Craniamon, It helps boost our Alphamon and Gankoomon, synergizing very greatly with the Black Royal Knight strategy overall by giving extra 1000 DP during the opponent's turn specifically, which is very nice as well. So now moving to the options, of course we have typical removal, the standard removal cards. We first off have Iron Fisted Onslaught, Gankoomon's signature move right here, board wiping all of our opponents' highest Digimon play cost. Basically it's just great. One of the best, or arguably the second best, one of the best black removal cards in this current game, in this current format. So I like to play a 3 of, and then the other 3 of also right here is basically Ultimate Flare. Ultimate Flare is just really great. Again, great for board wiping capabilities. De-Digivolving is very, very good because there's no protection against that generally. And then afterwards, you get to delete everything that is 3 costs or less on the board, which is really, really good. So arguably, again, also one of the best or second best, depending on what you guys prefer compared to Iron Fisted Onslaught. But, you know, just a very, very important black option that you must run in the deck as well. So that'll be all of our black package with the Tamers and the options. Let's get into the yellow package. Now, back in the beginning, we showed you guys we had yellow eggs. And the reason why we play the yellow eggs, we never digivolve them whatsoever, is because we can play our yellow options right here. And Reinforcing Memory Boost, here we go again. One of the strongest yellow options out there, which is incredibly powerful. So much value for this card, which I definitely understand why they decide to restrict this card. You know, this card's going to be restricted in a month's time, but, you know, I definitely want to push this deck profile out for you guys and show you guys how fun and how cool and how different way that you guys can play. Try it out, you know, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about it when playing it. But yeah, enjoy it as much as you can while you still have the time. But Reinforcing Memory Boost, I covered this before as well. So much value, so great of a card because you get to basically review top 2 cards, and you get to add 1 to your security, add the other to your hand, setting up your stronger securities for you. It's just absolutely amazing. It also has a delay of boost, giving you 3 extra memory. Giving you that lot of memory to work with is great for this deck because this deck does need that much memory to basically to operate. It can even potentially choke out your opponent if you know how to play the memory well nicely and restrict them, which is pretty amazing. And this card just enables that kind of potential right here, which is why you must play a 4-0, no less. Last but not least, I think we have the another really best, one of the best removal option cards in the game as well, which is Wyvern's Breath. Basically, you reduce your opponent's one of your opponent's Digimon by 15k DP for the turn. Basically, it's anything. You know, it's just really good. You get to delete anything, which is really great. If you guys kind of prefer, if you guys like Iron Fisted Onslaught or Ultimate Flare instead, you guys can take one copy out and swap it in to substitute right there as well. Totally works out fine either way, but Wyvern's Breath has come in handy, especially in the mirror matchups against Craniamons or any other guys that has protection effects. So Wyvern's Breath is, I personally like it more. So, and because we have a really good abundance of black removal, we got 6 cards already, so 4 of the yellow ones makes up very nicely for the ratios as well. That will conclude for my very own deck building strategy and guide for the Royal Knights Security Control deck. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a like. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, or questions, be sure to share it with everyone in the comments down below. We got lots more deck profiles coming up, so be sure to hit that subscribe button right now and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and this is AVAULT signing out.